of actually smashing the top side matchup, but that's exactly what they're going to have to do, as Z10 are likely going to focus towards the bottom side with that Callisto Nautilus.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning not seeing any true standard options for that primary engage. Of course, Renata Ultimate can be a very good tool. You can get the Weaver's Wall behind as well to cut off any opportunity for retreat. It's all just... I'm not entirely sure whether I'm in love with Vitality.Bee's composition. I do like the individual champions. Whether they're going to work in concert with each other is another question. Over on the side of Zero Tenacity, though, pretty much see what they're going for.
Yeah, you know, to me, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? A lot of like strong pairings, right? Trundle to Leah, great 2v2 mid jungle. You can get a lot of pressure down early on in the laning phase. Aphelios Renata has been one of the primary kind of duos that you've seen come out throughout the course of the summer split as a scaling option, safe front-to-back team fighting. But then it's like slamming the Aatrox in the top side. Great lane matchup, sure. What else is it really going to achieve when you're dealing with so much CC, so much disengage on the side of Z10? We'll have to see. Vitality.Bee definitely kind of line up that are capable of just kind of skill checking you for sure. I think on Z10 though, a lot of safe scaling, a lot of strong early game options, engage tools. It's a really well-rounded composition. See what they can get done with it though. Draft is only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, League of Legends isn't all about draft, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's very fun to theory craft and be like, red side, one draft at R3. Maybe true. But draft isn't going to win you every single game. It's just going to make the game slightly easier or harder. As speaking of a game potentially being easier or harder, lane invade is going to come in here for Z10, and I've seen dredge lines here.
I was going to say, if Renata had a couple more donuts this morning, that might have hit her. But fortunately for her, this time around, it was not the case. They will get the invade onto the blue buff, but just going to remind you that check out the Amazon Gaming Week for a limited time until September 9th for deals to upgrade your gaming rig, to level up your League of Legends play, and from hardware to accessories to snacks, everything you need for a gaming session is on sale. Just check it out at Amazon. Oh, Ash, I'm gonna have to hold that point as Ryuzaki ruins my ad read. Skeens with first blood.
You know, I don't blame you for going for the ad read right there, but they had all of the information that level 2 invade was going down. Diplex is going to eat a pretty healthy amount of damage there. And Skeens just says, yeah, I'm not going to accept this cross map. I'm just going to run at Ryuzaki. And honestly, correct call. Trundle is just going to maul you at level 2. He's able to get so close to you so quickly. Now Vitality.Bee all of a sudden have a bit of a tempo advantage in the jungle. Ryuzaki was only able to take away the blue buff. Yes, he does have his full jungle you know, to return to and clear. But nice about what the sort of follow-up play is to this. Will Ryuzaki just kind of, I don't want to say autopilot, but just go top to bot. Because if you take a look at the minimap right now, with all of the priority that Vitality.Bee have down here in the bottom side, it looks like Skeens is looking for some kind of in, whether it's a dive or whether it's further jungle invade. We'll have to see, because with the posturing here from Vitality.Bee, it's a very slow wave crash. And that says to me that they could potentially be eyeing up that dive, but they will go towards the red buff, and the further invades will continue.
Skeens has moved in onto that red buff, as you mentioned, and Karthus out of the Wolves is probably going to be a little bit slow to actually contest this one, so good play from Vitality.Bee's bot lane as well to have this priority, have this push, and deny the opportunity for Z10 to move in if they do find out about it, but Trundle's already gone.
Yeah, you know, I was going to say, if I'm Skeens, I would maybe wait around for Ryuzaki. He's a no-flash Karthus. Like, you can just murder it before he even shows up to anything. Well, he's actually eyeing up this gank onto Sebex, it looks like, and Skeens should be able to find just that, but be able to escape.
Oh, he's going to be dragged back, and the damage from Diplex is pretty big. Skeens could look for the pillar, will land it, but the filth is going to be flashed over. Sebex gets away.
Solid gank, and now with Sebex having no flash, the ability to get super aggressive in this lane very severely diminishes. Really great early pathing and adaptation from Skeens, it really has to be said. Shying down this potential map split, getting into the enemy jungle to pick up the red buff, and that also puts down a lot of pressure in the mid lane. Z10's early game plans definitely being thwarted quite heavily by the French side.
He's just building up, humming to himself on the Ornn as we go into a bit of a lull, but Skeens is still hanging around mid lane, potentially looking to get the return gank now that no flash is available. We move up though, Warriors jumping forward, gets the damage down onto Yeskla. Bailout might need to be used, but I don't think Aphelios has any targets to actually hit, and he's just gonna burn out, goes low, taken down by Ryuzaki.
Really good stuff there from Ryuzaki. Picks up that kill. Good bit of redemption arc there after the pretty disastrous early game. We'll see what he'll be able to do with that one. We've seen Karthus has put out so much damage. Not too much success in terms of winning the game, but the damage has been there. So we'll see whether Z10 with a much more rounded composition compared to what we've seen other Karthus teams end up with actually have a little more impact than his predecessors in that regard. I think all in all though, Vitality.Bee, they're going to look and really need to try and get some kind of snowball going to a degree. I think it's very scary to stare at, you know, Karthus, Tristana on scaling. You don't really have too much scaling to answer with in your own front. As Numbers should be able to walk this one out and could look to turn it around, but there's not too much chain CC, so we'll see how they get done.
Just up in the top side, catches out Schemes. Agenda hasn't been rooted up yet by the auto, so could also be CC'd as damage onto Trundle. The flash forward, but the knockup of his agenda is so clutch. Schemes manages to get away, bleeding out as he goes. But the minion stops any kind of re-engage onto the Aatrox. Heroic play from the Vitality.Bee top laner.
Yeah, and look at this massive wave. How many? It's about 3 waves in total. That's going to be denied away from Sagenda. Massive, massive stuff. You can see how much of this is potentially going to be lost, but you should be able to teleport back to it. The cannon wave means that you'll actually secure a fair amount. The rest of Z10 don't stick around to ensure that this is denied. So really good stuff. And whilst the play is happening on the top side, look what's happening down here. Vitality.Bee pick up 2 plates for themselves. Red, white. VZZ cannot step up to this, otherwise he risks getting done.
And you can see he's just watching forlornly as 1 or 2 free plates taken. VZ will be able to move back towards him. It's only level 3 up against the level 5 from both members of Vitality.Bee's bot lane. Has just pinged over to 4, but has not been a pleasant experience for Kalista, who normally wants to be doing stuff early.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of the potential early game plan that Z10 had in mind was off the back of that late invade, but Vitality.Bee Skeens obviously just kind of threw it all in the bin for Z10. So I think the fact that it's maybe not been as split a map as they were expecting, my guesstimations of how they wanted the early game to go is that Sebex should have had relatively consistent mid lane priority, which they could then use to kind of leverage a lot of pressure and bring Yurizaki down with Sebex as a duo to consistently dive both Jeskla and Jack Troll, but it's just not come to fruition as a lot of the pathing was kind of just interrupted. Still, despite all that, a little bit below 7.5 minutes. Yurizaki still hits level 6 quite early, so maybe they'll be able to make some kind of Requiem plays on some all-ins in this 2v2.
Something that should be noted as well, of course, we have been speaking to ERL casters who have been watching these leagues religiously throughout not only this split but this year. And when we sat down with Solari to talk about the Ultra Liga and especially Zero Tenacity, she said, when you're Zero Tenacity, you want to be carried through bot. You have to bat away the Draven, which we did see in this matchup. So good to see Vitality.Bee have also done their research on this. But that's where they find the most success, and that's where they want to be playing around. And so far, on the Kalista, another early aggressive marksman, as we mentioned, hasn't really been feeling it necessarily into Aphelios. And while there are still opportunities, as you rightly said, a little bit concerning that their standard playstyle is maybe being thwarted a little bit by Vitality.Bee. But on the flip side, this gives an opportunity for them to show up a little bit more. If they do go for the engage onto Mama Skeens, will be able to escape. And actually, Ornn gets the knock up on to Sagenda. He's going to be able to dunk down for the first kill of the fight. Ryazaki flashing over the wall, will escape. But it's just going to be the pickup as Z10 back away.
Yeah, target selection there swapped away from Skeens is able to walk out, and because of that, now, continued engage.
It's a full fight going on right now. Nice exhaust onto Sebex. He's going to bust the shot just away, but members are already on his face. Ryazaki stays alive with a sliver, but will go down eventually. Of course, will be able to continue slightly above by Vitality.Bee. That is what the objective is. They back onto it.
Yeah, and this is a fight that Z10 were very happy to take. Oh, don't reset it. Okay.
Oh, no!
Jungle patience. But I mean, this is a fight that Z10 were, the initiators in, right? They look for Skeens, they aren't able to burst him down, and by the time they try and turn around to Sagenda, Hummus has been subjugated. He's taking so much damage from the World Ender. And they're able to just make a fight roll in their favor, and the fight that ensues afterwards, I guess Z10 not quite out of the mud just then and there. So you can see, a lot of damage ends up being thrown towards Skeens, but they don't quite bring them below lethal. And by the time they recognize that Sagenda's effectively just solo killed Nummus, the fight's already over. You see Ryuzaki has to flash away from the knockback of Diplex, and at this point, it's kind of all about disengage, but you can see they catch where VODS is going, try and pick him up. Exactly they do. Sebex tries to back up his support, but he kind of just sends himself to his own grave.
And it was a real rout, the first piece of true dominance from Vitality.Bee in this matchup. And for a team coming from the LFL, there's a lot of expectations when you hear those three letters put one after each other like that. And what everyone else has been delivering on expectations to be strong in group, Vitality.Bee have been struggled in their first match, obviously not winning out on that one, and a lot of people are going to be expecting them to pick up form sooner rather than later, and winning in this matchup would go a long way to that.
Definitely so, and Vitality.Bee were very much muted in their opening game group stage. So finally able to flex their muscles a little bit, show that they are the strong team, one of the stronger teams in this group. For now, Z10 still Fox Crew, of course, Ultra Liga champions here. No slouches at all in their own right. And like you said, a lot of the primary focus comes through the bottom side. You spoke with Solari, the English casters from the Ultra Liga, and yeah, VZZ, it's a lot of the focus that gets put onto them. A lot of the resources get funneled down towards that side of the map, and the draft definitely kind of speaks to that kind of fantasy being met. But unfortunately, again, been kind of a victim of what happened in the jungle. Because I imagine that a lot of the plans involved Ryuzaki being able to get down there consistently just very frequently shut down by Vitality.Bee. Skeen's always hovering around the bottom side, ensuring that no 2v2 or 3v3 could really happen. They found the one gank, and that was about it. Outside of that, they haven't been able to push any kind of other advantage.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? The draft is one thing. You can win a game on paper as damage going through. Sebex will be able to reply with a kill as Skeen's moving towards Ryuzaki, chops on down to the Carthus, and one more club will be all it takes is a double for the Trundle as he's able to dance around this Carthus very efficiently. Zenda on the top side, bullying Mummas out a little bit. Does need to be careful, knocked up, can't dash away, and that is going to be the path of the world ender. But Mummas able to escape.
Mummas will retreat for now. 2v2 in the mid lane goes Vitality.Bee's way. All the pressure on the bottom side, finally starting to mount. This tower should be going down. No one on the side of Zero Tenacity is here to respond to this one. Very silently, the gold lead has crept up 4,000 once the tower goes down. Massive lead in favor of the French side, and mid lane just trying to find the 2v2, trying to find the gank attempt. Skeen shows up, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't actually think that Diplex was able to get the reset down there on the explosive shot, so no second rocket jump. Even if he had it though, I think the Emerald Earth probably would have shut down any proper escape route, but really nice stopwatch there, shuts down the play entirely. Vitality.Bee get the turnaround that they want.
Looking strong in the game for now, Jack Troll. He's been a little bit careful, but once again, inches.
I've got to say, it feels like VODS' dredge lines have just been shaved off like a couple pixels compared to other Nautiluses I see.
VODS is sitting there like, did Riot hotfix my champ? Like what? Why have they fixed the hitbox now? As we're seeing the Rift Tail dropped in the top side by Skeens. It's not a super aggressive placing, but just wants to put it down as members will run in towards the enemy tower. Mubus, I don't know if you want to be standing right there, but does have VODS in support. It'll be 4v3, 3v3 with Ryuzaki floating on by. Charge down a couple of plates, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, and on the bottom side, well.
Thumbs up.
It's a meaty shutdown on a thumbs up. And a sad meat transgender. I want to know what happened there, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm going to take you a picture. Before we get a replay, Kalista will have auto-attacked a lot.
Right.
And we actually get a dive on the tower. So I have to hold my sterling analysis. And Mummas will go down, but we're just able to lock people up. Goes golden. And Ryuzaki will arrive, but it's going to be 3v2, and it's just going to be the Nautilus that falls. Vitality.Bee playing on the edge of tower range, pick up a double.
Mummas not tanky at all. Subjugate comes down. This is what I was talking about with the Orn pick into the Trundle. Especially this early on, you're not really a tank. Look how many chakrams Jeskla has able to take down that tower. This one's going to drop. Felios, Jeskla, this time around, unlike Monday night, is going to have the opportunity to play some League of Legends here. I assume this replay will be the bottom side, as it looks like Agenda attempted to find VZZ. VZZ dodged down every single sweet spot here, so many spears. Stuff from VZZ. And Anchidenda just oversteps his bounds a little bit, gets punished.
And then we jump into the fight that we just saw on your screens. Of course, it was a dive. And Vitality.Bee, I really like the way that they play around the tower aggro pretty effectively to ensure that while they go low, they don't go down.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Jackal doing a really good job of tanking up the tower. And VODS tries to actually capitalize on this, flash on top of him underneath the tower to lock him down, but unfortunately gets a little bit too far away from tower range itself. Drops aggro, and that pillar cuts off any real retreat that has ever been had. Sad Nautilus this game. Exactly, able to clean up anything from it as well. Vitality.Bee just winning in more places than they should be. And now, the only thing I can say is maybe you can use VZZ off the back of picking up that shutdown, but he's still down 1,000 gold directly underneath Jeskla. I think big issue is that right now Vitality.Bee are so happy to take skirmishes anywhere. That's a pick.
I don't know if that was a skirmish, that was just bullying Sebex at this point, but they're looking towards Mummus as well, and he can't find a way out either, stumbling down, but Skeens with another, whereas just about surviving, getting away from the ultimate from Renata. There's going to be a second charge on the mid lane tower. Will they push to try and take the objective down? They've got Trundle, they've got Aphelios, they will take it as well as managing to escape the Talia. But this is quickly running away from Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, Zero Tenacity are tail spinning right now. Vitality.Bee just finding pick after pick, getting all of the objectives that they could ever ask for. There's only 2 towers left, and it's the 2 tier 2 out inners on the side lanes. They need to try and do something. Z10. They have, you know, a strong scaling composition with Tristana, with the Karthus, with the Ornn. They weren't able to utilize the strength of VZZ, the Kalista on the bottom side. I mean, how far ahead Vitality.Bee are. Just feels like this game is going to be so tough to play out. They get a flash out of Diplex, and maybe they can respond to this tower, and I think they almost certainly will be able to once we take a look at this replay. There's a good handshake connects. Pillar as well. I think Pillar actually stuns because of the displacement on the Unraveled Earth. Really nice. And there is Searing Charge denied. And knockback of Diplex and Subjugate there. He is just not tanking Mummus at all. Not having the best of games. Just been kind of bullied. Had questions of the lane matchup pick up Force Agenda, of course. A pick that he's synonymous with, to be fair. Aatrox, but makes it work. And almost 3,000 gold up on his lane opponent. Really good stuff from Vitality.Bee. Continuously sing the praises of this team, but I think when you look over to Z10, we kind of ask the questions, how do they get back into this? I think they just have to try and turtle, but they don't really have the best in wave clear tools, and that's maybe my biggest concern. Because Vitality.Bee are just going to be so good at bringing them in to find whatever skirmish they feel like they want to take, and right now they are laser focused on this top side tier 2.
Jeskla going to be given the opportunity to fire through. Jackal with the ultimate will catch out the Nautilus. He's going to throw down a depth charge though as Sebex jumps on forward. It's a 3v3. Go Gadget. Nautilus only locks up Skeens though. Handshake back in, and that's a painful one to take. The Nautilus will fall once again.
Nautilus just not able to find anything there. Really nice armor to dissuade the disengage, and the siege continues for Vitality.Bee. The wave clear options, we said, really not that strong. I think the only way Z10 can really find some kind of way back into this is try and force numbers advantages. This wall is going to cut off the retreat option. VZZ really scary in between that pillar, but here's Jeskla!
The ultimate doing almost enough to take down VZZ, but he's able to dance away, and Tower though, unable to move, will crumble as it's another one taken by Vitality.Bee. Only 18 minutes on the clock. That's their 6th tower.
That's the 6th tower. They are for as clean a game as they can possibly find. Only dropped 3 kills and a tower this game. 2 items should pretty much be there for the Aphelios. 2 items being completed across the board as well. Death Stance, relatively close. Picks up a stopwatch. Says it's fine. I can buy a Zhonya's at the cost of 600 gold. They're up 2 dragons. Vitality.Bee should just be a bit of a cruising game. As a, well, VZZ, I guess, just not allowed to play League of Legends. That's tough.
Yeah. Sometimes a troll hits you in the head with a club, you know? Sometimes it just be like that, folks. And for Skeens 704, he's been doing stuff.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say. Skeens had pretty up and down, it felt like, EU Masters in spring. Predominantly positive one, but it felt like definitely some of the bigger games, his performances weren't necessarily at the ceiling that we expect from him. Hopefully we can keep a high level performance throughout from Vitality.Bee jungler. Always a pleasure to watch him on some of the more mechanical champions when the meta demands it.
And also the Trundle.
And also the Trundle.
Well, I don't think, if you're going to be the person in the chat sitting there saying, but Trundle's a mechanical champ, no, he's not. He bites people. And that's about it, really. Vitality.Bee 20-minute on spawn, moving towards the Baron Nashor. Yesker, of course, going to be putting a lot of damage down onto this one, and the contest is going to be considered by Z10. Can they do anything about this?
I mean, you have to try, right? You give up the Baron, you probably just lose the game.
Hostile takeover, but might be caught out here. There's the secure for Vitality.Bee. Requiem doesn't do nearly enough damage as Mummers has to charge away. Woj now caught up by the Aatrox, gets grabbed in by VZZ, but it might be to his grave as the Kalista tries to get away. Skeen's on the hunt, though, needs to be careful not to get stacked up too much for a big Ren. But Gender with the World Ender, he's on the warpath as he takes down another Ryuzaki. Sevex both managed to escape, but Baron on 5 members. Inhibitor towers bare. What can be gained by the LFL?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a minion wave. They've got 2 minion waves to work with. They could just look maybe for an end, Will. I don't even think it's off the cards. 20 seconds on VZZ. They have moments, but no ultimate in 5. Wota, same thing. I think they'll just do the sensible of the 2 options and just pick up this inhibitor. Wave to work with on the top side, so double inhibitors perhaps. See how far they go or whether or not Z10 can defend. As they wrap around, replay's going to come. As this is just a really good wall. You can see the picture-in-picture fight breaking out. Great wall to stop the approach from Z10, and the pillar as well interrupts the ultimate recall. Picture-in-picture, that tower goes down. Agenda just goes on the warpath, like you say. The ultimate as well. Jeskla does such a good job. Split apart by so much damage.
A whole fight coming through here, but we've seen this one before as Vitality.Bee pick up a quick 2, looking for a third. VZZ the victim. As members of Vitality.Bee, the Weavers War to catch Sevex out, exhausted, running back to Fountain, gets to the steps and will be able to survive, but he's caught off by the pillar as Vitality.Bee take another. They've got a wave, they've got Baron, they should have this game.
Vitality.Bee in their second game of groups will show up pretty big. The rest of the LFL representatives were showing them up a little bit. They don't want to be the only team without a win, and they will pick up their first win here in Z10. Z10 will drop down to 0-2. Much more dominant performance, much more discipline than we typically expect out of the LFL sides. Vitality.Bee give that to us here today. They'll move up to 1-1 in.